How's it going, guys? So it's been about 2 months now since we started up our Lely Vector automatic feeding system. It's been working out well. We're starting to get the hang of it. I was talking a couple videos ago about a corn silage change in the silo, switching from a brown midrib corn to just a regular conventional corn. We were feeding that higher digestible brown midrib right after harvest, and now we're switched over fully. Just got a sample sent off to a lab the other day, got the results back, and our nutritionist balanced a new ration. So I'm gonna put the new rations into the computer now. This one's taken off with a batch right now. So we have our computer for the Vector system in the office. So this is the Lely Horizon app, I guess, whatever you call it, on the computer. They also have a cell phone version of this that you can check and start manual routes and stuff. So that's pretty nice. Just looking at this, show you around a little bit. This is all the feed fences. Every single group, we got the 5 milking groups, pre-fresh, dry cow, and then 4 heifer groups. They're all on here. It goes around and pushes up feed and scans. So you see the scanned height. So right here, milk cow pen 2 was scanned at 1.73 inches, and it's set to remix at 1.97 inches. So it just mixed a batch for them, and that's what's being fed right now. It says right there what they're currently doing. So the one mixing feeding robot's on the charger, the other one just left with pen 2 feed. So I can adjust all these different settings for feed height when I want it to mix. So this is something I check a fair amount. I check it on my phone. Loading accuracy, we've been extremely happy with the loading accuracy. So right now we're running 97% overall. If you look a little closer, you can look at each ingredient. So these are the grains out of the bins: lactating supplement, corn flakes, toasted beans. So these are all running 99%. So about as accurate as you can be. And then if you look at corn silage and triticale, these are the 2 forages out of the silos. Those are both running 98%. So that was one thing with our setup out of the silos. We wanted to have a separate conveyor from each silo. That way, that conveyor can be shut off as soon as the feed's done falling out of the chute. We wanted the shortest amount of time possible from when the Vector says to turn off the feed and when the feed actually stops coming into the mixer. And the mixer does a good job at actually predicting how much feed will still come after it tells it to turn off. It learns after a few times, hey, there's going to be 30 more pounds that fall in after I send that signal to shut it off. And then it'll account for that, shut off a little bit early. So the forages, I mean, that's awesome, 98%. The biggest trouble we have is the grass hay. That's out of the forage box in the other room. Right now we're running 80% accuracy on that. The biggest reason for that is just how small of an amount goes into the batches. If you're putting 200 pounds or something in, like in the dry cow batch, it's pretty accurate percentage-wise. But there's some batches where it's only wanting 15 or 20 pounds of it, so it's only turning it on for a little bit. It just makes it hard to be accurate with that ingredient. We've been really impressed with the accuracy on the setup. Really couldn't be happier. So then we also have dry matter intake data. We can look at how much the cows are actually eating. So what I'm going to do right now is change the ration. So our nutritionist sends the rations on an email. So I just pulled that up on the other computer here. This is actually the test results from the corn silage sample we sent off the other day. The moisture of this corn silage is 57.7. So that means the dry matter would be 42.3. So I just go here. This is all of the different ingredients we have in. Their dry matter percentages here. You can adjust that. So right now we're feeding corn silage 1. So the dry matter did change a bit. We were at 43.9 before, and now we're at 42.3. So change that. So that will automatically change how many pounds it puts in the ration. As long as you have that accurate dry matter percentage in there, it'll accurately mix it. So we got that changed. Now I'm going to head up here to mixed ration. So this is all of our different rations. We have a milk cow, 3 heifers, first lactation, milking cows, dry cow, pre-fresh. So it takes a little bit of time to go through and change all these, but it's not too big a deal. So I'm going to go into the milk cow. This is the ration that we were feeding before with the BMR silage. We'd like to be able to feed a bit more triticale silage, but our silo is getting towards empty, so we have to hold off on that too much right now. In the spring, once we have more of that, we're going to be feeding more. So here's where I can change these numbers. So he bumped the lactating supplement up to 10.33. Toasted corn down to 6.68. So there's a fair amount more starch in this new silage. Had bigger ears, more corn in it. Toasted beans are the same, molasses is the same. Corn silage, we're going up to 29.19. So that should be it. Then I like to double check 62.4 pounds of dry matter per cow. And then over here, 62.4, it's the same number. Making sure we didn't put the wrong number somewhere. And then I just go up here to apply changes, and that'll save it. It's nice with this setup. We've just eliminated some of the variables with the feeding. Dad and I mix and feed if we made a mistake, or if we got rain in the bunker silo, we'd have more moisture that we had to account for. It's just taking away some of those potential problems. Now we know if we have accurate test results for the forages and we have everything entered in the computer properly, the cows are getting what we expect them to get. So next I'm going to do the first lactation cows. So these cows are balanced for 51.8 pounds of dry matter per cow, so they don't eat near as much. They're smaller animals, younger animals. So switching from that BMR silage, we did see a little bit of a drop in milk. Now we didn't have the ration balanced for the new silage. It'll be interesting now that we have that forage test back, what the cows do. They're still milking well. The non-BMR silage yielded quite a bit better, and it has more starch in it, so we're not having to feed as much extra corn. There's a lot of things to take into account. It's not just about the milk yield. So looking at this forage sample again, there's a lot of numbers that nutritionist looks at. The ones we look at the quickest are the NDF 30-hour digestibility. So that's 55.7 on this corn. The BMR silage we were feeding was in the upper 60s for that, so it's just quite a bit more digestible fiber. 55.7 is on the lower end of what we would like to see, but it's still fine. I'd like to see it up closer to 60 on this non-BMR if possible. And then the other number we look at is the starch. So this is 40.9% starch, dry matter, quite a bit of starch in it. That's why we're saving some on corn. We also look at crude protein. For corn silage, 8.6 is pretty good. We look at that more for triticale, and we work with a nutritionist that they have a program. They can plug all the forages in and all the grain ingredients and balance the ration for the perfect diet for the cow. You can balance the ration for different goals depending on what you're trying to do. This ration for the mature cows is balanced for 106 pounds of milk at 4.2 fat and 3.4 protein. Not every farm is trying to do that much on production, so our feed costs are high enough. The heifers are balanced for 77 pounds of milk at 4.7 fat. So the dry cow ration, we got a lot more hay. We're doing 6.5 pounds of dry matter per cow of dry hay. This is the last ration I'm changing. It's the 11 to 16 month old heifers. This will be the simplest ration that we feed. It's just grass, hay, triticale silage, heifer mineral, and corn silage. So we don't want these animals to get too fat. Don't want to give them too many goodies. So I'm entering in the dry matter that each individual animal is getting for the day. The thing I really like about the Lely Vector is I don't have to tell it how much to give each pen every day. We just enter in the ration for each individual animal, and then it'll mix it and deliver whenever that feed height gets low enough. It'll just mix another batch. So it's not going to over or under feed them. It's just going to keep feed in front of them. It has that little laser on the side as it's going through pushing up feed. It's just checking feed heights every hour for the milk cows, and then about every 2 hours on the heifers and dry cows. So you just put in the ration for one individual animal, how much dry matter of each ingredient, and then it'll just scale that up to a big batch. We're gonna be watching the milk production closely now and the dry matter intake just to see if things are gonna change. So yeah, here's the graphs on dry matter intake. These are the mature milk cows, first lactation cows. It's kind of your set ration versus what they're actually eating, and you can figure out if you need to balance for more feed. Or our cows have been eating a lot of dry matter. It seemed like that BMR silage, they were really eating a lot. So I'm hoping with this silage change we can get a little bit more feed efficient. So yeah, so far with the Vector, we've seen about 2 or 3 pounds of milk increase per cow per day. So we've been really happy to see that. I'm not gonna say that's gonna hold out long term. I'd like to see more data before we claim that. Our first concern was just we don't want to lose milk. We don't want to have worse feed accuracy, or the cows not like the drier feed out of the silos, but that's not been the case so far. I'm gonna do some more videos on mixing and showing these units working a little bit more. If you're a farmer interested in a Lely Vector, there's a discount code. You get 5% off the Vector system if you tell your salesman the code 10th Gen, or you can use the link below to get that discount as well. It helps me out, and it'll also help you out a little bit, getting a 5% discount. Okay guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one.